Good morning. My name is Jason Adkins, and I'm an attorney with the Institute for Justice, Minnesota chapter. We're here today because IJ has just filed a federal lawsuit on behalf of farmers challenging Lake Elmo's protectionist sales policy, which requires all produce sold on agricultural land to be grown in Lake Elmo. Simply put, Lake Elmo's policy is localism run amok. It actually hurts Lake Elmo farmers by stifling their ability to innovate and remain economically viable. It hurts consumers. It hurts their suppliers from around the country. People love to come to Lake Elmo farms to buy pumpkins and Christmas trees. This policy actually hurts consumers' ability by restricting their choices and preventing them from buying the pumpkins and Christmas trees that they love purchasing from Lake Elmo farms. Fortunately, the Constitution forbids protectionist schemes like at Lake Elmo's and ensures that farmers have the ability to participate in produce markets around the country. It is my pleasure to now introduce to you Anthony Sanders, who is the lead attorney in this case. Anthony will describe the case in more detail, as well as introduce our clients, Keith Bergmann, Lynn Smith, and Andy Daniels. Anthony?
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, everybody, for coming here today. Lake Elmo City Code forbids farmers from selling products unless they are grown inside the city limits of Lake Elmo. Farmers should have the freedom to sell produce from their own land, whether it is grown inside their city or outside. Lake Elmo cannot deny this basic constitutional right. To prevent this abuse, today the Institute for Justice has filed a lawsuit in federal court in the District of Minnesota. We are asking the court to strike down Lake Elmo's law as unconstitutional. The Constitution was crafted to guarantee free trade among the states. Lake Elmo is violating this founding ideal by forbidding farmers from selling produce that is grown outside of Lake Elmo, even if they grew it on their own land. The law is a violation of the Commerce Clause of the United States Constitution, something that has been understood to protect free trade for over 220 years. Lake Elmo's misguided law hurts local farmers and their customers by restricting farming diversity. The law hurts local farmers because they cannot innovate in diversifying the products that they sell. It hurts local consumers because they cannot have those choices when they come to Lake Elmo farms, such as this farm, Country Sun Farm. And it hurts farmers in other states across the country who sell to farmers in Lake Elmo. Now, we have filed this lawsuit on behalf of several farmers across this nation. First, we filed on behalf of the Bergmann family who run this farm. The Bergmanns have run this farm for almost 4 decades. And during that time, they have brought in produce from outside of the city and sold it to Lake Elmo consumers. A fellow plaintiff is Lynn Smith from North Carolina. Lynn grows Christmas trees in the mountains of North Carolina and sells them to buyers across the country, including small farmers such as this farm. Lake Elmo's law is threatening to take away his trusted client and to forbid him from selling into this town. Another client is Dan Fitzgerald. Dan is also here today. He has grown Christmas trees in the past and sold them to Country Sun Farm. Now, if he wants to do that in the future, the city will forbid him. Finally, we have Andy Daniels. Andy and his wife Tanny grow pumpkins on their farm outside of Columbus, Nebraska. They sell these pumpkins all over the country, including to Country Sun Farm. Country Sun Farm will buy them when their own crop in Wisconsin, for whatever reason, does not produce, and they have to look elsewhere for products to serve the people of Lake Elmo. Our lawsuit will protect the rights of farmers here and across this nation in protecting their right to engage in free trade, something the Constitution has protected for centuries. I'm now going to turn it over to a few remarks from some of our clients. First, I'm going to have Keith Bergmann, who grew up on this farm and now helps run it, say a few words. Keith?
Thank you all for coming here today. My name is Keith Bergmann, and I'm with Country Sun Farm. This is a family operation that my family, my father and mother started almost 40 years ago on the property here. We opened this store 25 years ago with the city's blessing, and we've sold agricultural products that we've raised here and elsewhere for the last 25 years. We've sold Christmas trees that we have gotten from the best suppliers that we can find, some of those being in Minnesota, sometimes in Wisconsin, and as far away as North Carolina. Recently the city said that you can't bring in products from outside the city limits, including our farm in Wisconsin that we do grow pumpkins at. We'd like to produce all of our own crop. That's not always possible for us given the weather and the Minnesota area we live in here, so we do have to bring it in from other places. All we're asking is the city to change this law, which we feel is absurd. It doesn't allow us to run our business. And I'm joined here with my family, my two brothers here. We all work here, and this is our livelihood, and this is what we'd like to continue to do. And I'm going to turn this over to some other farmers that have joined us today, because this also threatens their way of life. Andy Daniels, if you'd like to say something.
Excuse me. I'm Andy Daniels from Columbus, Nebraska. I raise pumpkins and sweet corn, Daniels Produce. I sell pumpkins to Dick occasionally, not very often. It's been a few years, only when he's short. And he's become a very good friend of mine. And I would like to say that Nebraska tried something like this probably about 15 years ago with Initiative 300, and it was found to be unconstitutional finally 2 years ago. And other states have tried restricting competition, and it's unconstitutional and it's wrong. And if I can't compete, then I should get better. And if I still can't compete, maybe I shouldn't be competing. The whole law, the whole principle of the law sticks in my craw, and now I can't sell into Lake Elmo. Thank you.
And we'd like to also hear from Lynn Smith, who again he grows his trees out in North Carolina.
Good morning, folks. My name's Lynn Smith. I'm a Fraser fir Christmas tree grower in Banner Elk, North Carolina, and I've been very fortunate to have picked these folks up as a client and sell them Christmas trees. Now the city of Lake Elmo is threatening to take away their livelihood by not letting them sell things purchased outside of the city. So we're both typical farmers. We're just trying to make a honest living by employing our family members and other members of the community. Thank you.
Well, thank you all for coming. We'll be available for questions.